There is a 5-year-old little boy inside of you, and he needs your help. He needs to be heard. I was sitting down, I have a couple videos written out because I'm going to be gone for the next week at ayahuasca retreat. And this one just popped in my mind, popped in my heart. So I'm going to tell you my personal story and see what comes up for you. But first and foremost, that you actually have a part of you that's like a little 5-year-old. This part of you is not rational. It's emotional. It's feeling based. It changes its mind. It wants candy. It can get mad, get its feelings hurt, want to cry, get really excited. And that is a part of you. I did not believe in this. I really didn't believe in it. Matter of fact, it took a couple years of a good friend of mine, Jamie, telling me about this, saying, "Hey, have you done this inner child?" I'm like, I don't have that. This was years ago. Didn't believe in it, then got in a relationship a while later. She told me the same thing. Still didn't believe in it. Also didn't have like a formula or a way to do it. I was like, what? There's a little kid inside of me? Like, that's crazy. So I want to share this story of how I stumbled upon my own inner child. Because with guys I work with friends, with a friend who's in the midst of a potential breakup right now, I can see how this comes up, and it's just, man, it's imperative. It was such a big blind spot in my personal development journey for so many years. I don't know how much delayed things would have been if I hadn't addressed this. So I had a breakup a while ago. That breakup was in July of that year. And her and I sat down a few months later. She wanted to meet with me. I met with her. And it was nice. It was a little too soon for me to probably meet, but I did anyways. It was a few months after the breakup. I don't know what her intentions were. I don't know if she wanted to get back together. Never really stated that. Could have been, maybe not. But it was a nice, like, proper goodbye. It impacted me a lot. I thought it was beautiful that she wanted to do that. I was kind of surprised. And I wanted to write a post about it, just saying people can be on good terms with their ex. So, yeah, thought about this post for way too fucking long, like a month. Wrote the post. And now I'm traveling. I just got back. Let's see, I was in Barcelona, then I was in Austin, then I was in Chicago, and then packed up all my stuff in Colombia, put it in storage, and then I went to Brazil and Argentina for months. I've been in Brazil maybe a week, in the south of Brazil, in Florianopolis. Great place. One of the safest, coolest places I've been in Latin America. Great weather, very chill. Excuse me. And I would go to this Italian restaurant about every night. And I noticed there was kind of like an angst in me that didn't make sense. But I was trying to play it off. I was like, well, I'm on vacation, so I can eat pizza, like real pizza, like Italian pizza, not like American pizza. Like real pizza, real pasta, stuff like I hadn't really had something like that other than in Italy. Yeah, there's some restaurants in America, but in general, America's not known for their food like Italy is, or like real Italian food is. Kept doing this, kept going out. And probably the first few nights I went there every night. And I would justify it, and I would have a martini, or I would have two, or a glass of wine, or two, or maybe the wine more, 3, I don't remember. But the martini, the idea was no more than 2. It was like, I'm on vacation, I'm just like having a good time. I'm not getting wasted, but 2 martinis, enough to feel it. And it was unusual, because at this time, I wasn't really a big drinker, and I hadn't been in years. And I've been sitting kind of, mulling around on that post. Had part of it written, probably wrote it longer than it needed to be, turned it into a couple posts. And that particular relationship was the first time I was actually in love. Like connected to someone in my heart in a way I couldn't logically explain. There was other challenges, things like that, but I'd never had that with anyone. I'd loved, but I'd never been in love. So adult me, even though I was a bit fearful or wanted to leave it on this high note and make this post, adult me is like, okay, I got to write this post. I know this is going to be the right thing to do. It's just to close things out. There was a 5-year-old part of me that was twisted up inside. That was afraid that those emotions bubbling to the surface were starting to kind of get masked after a week with more food than I needed to eat. Okay, I'm feeling a lot of feelings. I don't want to feel these feelings. I'm supposed to enjoy my time in Brazil. Let me have a couple martinis. One night, I'm walking back from the same Italian restaurant I normally go to. I don't know, buzzed, a little drunk, 2 martinis. And I'm about 3 or 4 blocks from the place I'm renting. There's no ayahuasca, no psilocybin, no LSD, none of that stuff. Just 2 martinis. And on my right-hand side, I feel the presence of like a 5-year-old. But it's me, but also I'm me. And this kid is sad. I won't say her name. We'll call her Paula. Her name's not Paula. We'll call her Paula. And the kid said, no one ever connected with us or loved us like Paula did. I was like, okay. If you post that post, I know you need to post it, but you're never going to get back with Paula. And it's literally me in the streets of Florianopolis talking to myself at 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday or something. And I'm having a dialogue with a 5-year-old. It's weird. And this 5-year-old part of me had never felt more connected in many ways to Paula, we'll call her. And the 5-year-old part of me was terrified that if I made that post, we couldn't get back together. The adult part of me is like, hey, man, I love this chick. I've never met someone like that. We don't have the same vision of the future. We don't grow in similar ways. We have more different values than I thought at first. But that 5-year-old was mulling around for the last month or so. I went and I posted that a few days later. I was at that time reconnected with my ex on Instagram. Got permission to post it. I did not run it by her, everything, but it wasn't saying anything bad about her. It was just how many great things and what I learned, what I admired about her. And it sent me to this weird place because she was super pissed off. She accused me of, things that hadn't happened, but just kind of fears she had and stuff. And I was feeling a level of stuff and emotion that it was a bit overwhelming for the next month, 6 weeks. I hadn't realized I had this part of me suppressed for decades. And how cool, well, first it was her friend years earlier, then it was her, Paula, we'll call her, that had pointed out like, hey, you have this part, I think you need to go connect with him. And it was in that night things changed. Was it all at once? No. But I started talking to this part of me that's me. That sometimes just wants gummy bears. Sometimes is sad. Sometimes is hilariously excited for shit. Like, let's watch Batman! Shit like that. He loves Batman. I guess that is something we both share in common. But this part of me, I didn't know that I needed to be connected to this part. And not that this part of me should lead, this 5-year-old should lead, but it's a real valid part of the human experience. And if you're a guy who's on the rocks with your relationship, going through a breakup, you're doing your research, you find out you're more anxious than you thought, she's avoidant, we're looking at all these diagnoses or clinical sounding words, which is great, useful, you can overdo it sometimes. Ask me how I know. What I invite you to consider is you have a little 5-year-old who's crying out for your attention. And if you're having these fears, these things in relationships, you just had a breakup, there's a good chance this little dude hasn't been heard in years or decades. That was my experience. And on the other hand, if you recently had that breakup or you feel you're about to have that breakup, even if she's doing the opposite of you, showing up super different, she has a little 5-year-old inside of her that wants love, wants connection, wants cookies, wants affection, wants to know they're safe. When you look at it like that, everything changes. Versus trying to make someone wrong, not that you've done that, I know I have. Reading a book, oh my gosh, I have the pattern right here. It says she did this. That's exactly what happened in my last relationship. I'm never dating, blah, blah, blah again. Doesn't really help anything. Gives you some information. But what really helps, what will really transform your future relationships is you having a deeper understanding and a deeper relationship with all parts of you, especially that inner little 5-year-old.